Heavyweight Fight of the Year candidate, check. I'm Teekosey, and this is with just 15 defeats. This is with just 15 defeats, and I'm Teekosey here to give you a heavyweight breakdown of the war between Dillian White and Dereck Chisora. Now, if you've got any comments on this fight, remember to leave the comments below. Give us a big thumbs up, and remember to subscribe to my channel. As we move forward, we will be giving you more reviews and previews of all the big fights coming in the new year. So, as we say, Dillian White, Dereck Chisora. This was a split decision of victory for Dillian White, winning on two of the scorecards to Chisora's one. Now, I thought this was a very, very good fight, much better than I thought it was going to be. After all the commotion of the head-to-head and the press conference, I thought it was going to stink the place out. I even predicted that it would be a bit of a snooze fest, that would go the full 12 rounds with a points decision of victory for Dillian White. But what we got was a really brilliantly exciting fight between two fairly even fighters, but primarily we got this because Dillian White fought more of the Dereck Chisora fight. Didn't really fight to the game plan that really would have made it a lot easier for him. Now, I think I'm going to go through the round by round in this one because it was a really exciting fight. It was a very close fight, and everyone's going to have opinions on how they scored it. I'm sure a lot of people will say Dereck Chisora won it, and I'm sure a lot of people will say that Dillian White won it. So I'll go with my round by round, just like I did for the Joseph Parker-Andy Ruiz fight that happened earlier in the day, and I had a bit of a controversial opinion on that. So if you've got any comments on that fight, remember to jump across to my channel and check out that video. So let's move across to the fight between Chisora and White. The first round started kind of like a lot of the rounds would proceed to. It was a very close, very close round, I thought. But the better work came from White, even though it was fairly cagey, and I gave White the opening round. Now, the second round, this is where we kind of just really started to see the story of the fight for me. We saw a really good start from Chisora, really starting to show body work. He showed some really good movement and really started to close down Dillian White, and was successful in closing down Dillian White. And I gave Chisora that second round. Now, the third round, again, some really good work from Chisora, and it was really more of the same. White was trying to counter, but Chisora was outworking him, and he managed to land a few fairly nice shots. Now, the problem is, as we know with Chisora, doesn't really have much power. So he wasn't really able to really hurt Dillian White, but I give him the round. So it's the second round for Dereck Chisora. The fourth round, as I say, this is where we kind of really saw that White was fighting Chisora's game plan. They were head to head. They were infighting. This was the fight that Chisora was dreamed about for weeks, because it's the game plan that he loves. It's the game plan he adopts. And if you've listened to any of my videos about Chisora in the past, it's one of the things I feel that when he fights against someone who's a boxer, it really counts against him that he likes to fight close, a little bit of holding, a little bit of infighting, a lot of punching to the body, and I feel that the judges penalise him for that. I feel that they penalise him for that because I think that most judges like movement and jabbing and trying to avoid, rather than kind of messy work. Okay. Now, White was quiet for the first half, but Chisora came on very, very strong. Very, very strong in the second half. So I gave Chisora that round. Now, in the fifth round was huge for Chisora. He hurt White with some decent shots. But he couldn't take him out. As I said, he lacks that really power, lacks the killer instinct of some of the other guys in the division. White actually survived it, kind of took a big deep breath, and then actually hit Chisora with a couple of big punches, and the tide was turned. But the round was really at the end. It was right at the end of the round, so there wasn't really much to do. But as I say, it was a big round for Chisora. So for me, it's another round for Chisora. So far, I've given Chisora 4 out of the opening 5 rounds. 6th round, the round starts and Chisora is blowing hard. He's blowing hard. He obviously put a lot of effort into that round, the middle round. When he hurt White, he really went for it. And despite the fact that this round ended up being fairly close, the better work was from Dillian White, the accurate punching, and you give it to Dillian White. The 7th round, some of the same. It was both guys showed that they were tired in this round, and this is where we saw that this is kind of when we get one of these heavyweight classics, when they both start to show that they're tired. They both start to show that they're vulnerable. They both start to show that their defences are down, and they're both fighting on instinct. So, as I say, it was close. Both had success. With Chisora, he landed a couple of big shots right at the end. Now, this is a round that I struggled to score. I thought it was quite even, but I would be happy to give it either way. Okay. 8 round starts with some holding, but then Dillian White starts to box at range for about a minute, and then war erupts. That's right. Chisora landed a shot, and Dillian White looked a bit wobbly for a second, and they both went for it. Chisora was landing some big shots, but again, I'll repeat again, Chisora doesn't have any power to take anyone out, so Dillian White was able to survive. But for those big telling shots, you have to go with Chisora. Okay, so we move into the 9th. So as I say, that's another round for Chisora. Okay, so we move into the 9th round, and Chisora completes the round off. As we know, it was a big round for him before. It was a bit of a war on both sides, but White seemed to be fresher, despite the fact that he'd taken some big shots. But as I say, Chisora lacking power might not have really hurt him, but it was a tiring war of a fight. And really, Dillian White is boxing nicely. Nothing really hurtful at all, but he wins the round. The 10th round, they're in close. Again, they're back to fighting close. Chisora's landing some uppercuts, but literally has no energy to build upon any shots that look like they might be hurting White. Chisora took a minute off the central minute of the round completely, did nothing for 60 seconds. And then the last minute was quite 50-50. They both had a little bit of success. And because of the early work from Chisora, I have to give him the round. Now, in the 11th, a lot of clean work from Dillian White. Chisora's backing off at this time, and this is where he kind of started to really deteriorate. He was moving to the corner ropes, the corner and to the ropes. Didn't really have much left in the tank. Dillian White wins it quite wide. Moving to the final round, and there's a slip early on, but Chisora is gassed. He can barely stand up. It's almost like he was trying to get the referee to pick him up. Classic. There's some big shots from both in this round. They both look like they're hurt, and this is one of these rounds where I wasn't too sure how to score this round initially. For about 2.5 minutes, I'm thinking this is Dillian White all day long, and then right at the end, Chisora has a rally. He lands some shots. Almost looks like Dillian White is almost going to fly out of the ring. But I think really Dillian White deserves that round on balance. So to kind of score this fight, I ended up with 6 rounds for Chisora, 5 for Dillian White, and 1 round that could go either way. So there's a contentious round. So you could say that I've effectively scored it a draw, or just veering on to Chisora. I found myself really enjoying this fight. I was quite surprised. As I said, I thought it was going to be a bit of a boring fight, and it turned out to be a war. It turned out to be really, really exciting. One of the better fights that we've seen in the last couple of months. And I'd really like to see a rematch. I said this with the Andy Ruiz and Joseph Parker fight earlier today. I'd like to see a rematch of that. I would love to see a rematch of this Dereck Chisora, Dillian White fight. And again, I think that in a rematch, Dillian White probably will have learnt his lesson, and he'll probably won't fight the Dereck Chisora type fight, and he'll win it on a much more comfortable basis. I believe that this fight was an eliminator for one of the straps, but I don't think Dillian White is ready for a title just yet. We know that these guys get the opportunities, but I think Dillian White, I don't think he's ready for one of the bigger boys. Not just yet. I think he needs maybe 1 or 2 more fights, and to really kind of to work on some of the issues that he's got to take him to the next level, because he has got talent. He lacks, I said this in the preview video, and I think someone left a comment on that video to say that I was wrong, but I think Dillian White really lacks power. I think he has some skills. He showed today that he doesn't fight that clever, despite having those skills. So we have to see whether he can learn from this fight, because this fight would have really put him in good stead. There's a lot to take from this fight, but I think possibly he needs another fight of a similar sort of caliber, but maybe a different type of fighter that will help him for when he does get the opportunity against one of the bigger super heavyweight type chaps. So there you go. I don't know what everyone else feels about this fight, but I really enjoyed it, and as I say, I'd love to see a rematch. I would love to see a rematch. You never know, we might get it on the big card that's been announced for Wembley in the spring. But anyway, as I say, if you've got any comments, remember to leave them in the comments section. I'll get right back at you. And remember to check out my channel for any other videos, and remember to subscribe. I've been Teekosey. This has been With Just 15 Defeats.